everybody. Welcome to Delicious and Nutritious. My name is Marcia. I am from Beth Israel Deaconess Hospital in Plymouth as a registered dietitian. Delicious and Nutritious is proudly brought to you by Plymouth Area Cable Television, PAC TV, the Plymouth Center for Active Living, Beth Israel Deaconess Hospital, Plymouth, myself, and also Chef Jerry Levine, who we will see on video in just a few moments. So Delicious and Nutritious is all about helping everybody to eat healthy, delicious, and affordable food. So today's show is spatchcocked chicken, which we're going to watch Jerry create using a grill. And then after we watch that, I will provide some information on keeping New Year's resolutions, something that many of us are getting ready to commit to. So I'm hoping that maybe I can provide all of you some tips that help you and me actually keep those New Year's resolutions. So let's go ahead and watch Jerry prepare this spatchcocked chicken.
Okay, today we are going to do a spatchcocked Cornish game hen. Now, what does spatchcocking mean? We're going to talk about that. And what's a game hen? All right, a game hen is a little tiny chicken like this. And this weighs about 1 pound to 1.25 pounds. And it's a perfect little tiny chicken. And it serves 2 people. Each person gets a half. Now, the question is, what is spatchcocking? Well, you notice this part right here is the breast of the chicken, and I'm going to take the chicken and I'm going to roll it over and put it on my cutting board, and I'm going to use a pair of kitchen shears, one of my favorite tools, and I'm going to take and I'm going to cut out the backbone. And then I'm going to lay it down and press on it to flatten it out. What's the purpose of spatchcocking? Good question. One is it decreases the amount of time that it takes to do the cooking, because instead of having this round mess where the heat's got to go through the chicken and into the cavity and cook from the outside in, out, from the inside out to the outside in, we're going to just have the whole thing laid down flat on this cookie sheet with my little rack there. Okay, first thing, we need to season this bird. So we're going to take right here, and I have what is called a dry rub. Now, I can make my own dry rubs, but you can also make your own dry rubs. But the simplest thing is to go into the supermarket, go to the spice counter, and find a dry rub from one of the companies that you respect, and buy it. And then take it home, and this right here is 1.5 tablespoons, and oh, does that smell delicious. Okay, we got the dry rub, and we have roasted sesame oil, one of my favorite things. Now, the roasted sesame oil, the purpose of this is that I want to cover the skin because I want the skin to brown. So, and that's the purpose of this. So we're going to take the roasted sesame oil, we're going to put it in the dry rub, and with our little whisk here, we're going to take it and we're going to mix it up real good. And you notice how the sesame oil has emulsified the dry rub. And you'll notice that I'm going to wear gloves. And the reason I wear gloves is because there is a possibility that chicken has salmonella, which is a bacteria, and that bacteria can make you very sick and unhappy. Now, and what I will do is I will remove the gloves as soon as I've gotten the chicken on my cookie sheet. Okay, we take the chicken, and look at this little guy. Isn't that beautiful? Ah, such a piece of artwork. Now, we take the shears. This is the neck. This is the tail. We're going to cut along the backbone here, and we're going to cut along the backbone here. We're going to lift this whole thing out, and it's going to be discarded. Now, it doesn't have to be discarded, because if you want to, you have enough of these things in your freezer, you can use it as a starting point for making a nice soup. Okay, see how easy that cut through? Look at that. And this is the backbone right here. These are the rib cage. So now we do the other side. And we now call this a spatchcocked Cornish game hen. Okay. Backbone is out. Head in, tail in. Okay. Now, we take and put these over here, and we're going to flip the bird over like this here, and we're going to crack the rib cage, and you might even hear it crack. Well, we didn't hear it crack. Okay, now we push it down, so now we've got this nice flat bird here. I'm going to take this and turn around for 1 minute and put this over here. And we're going to throw this in there, and that's good. Now, what I like to do is I like to take the wings, and I like to put the wing tips underneath like that. And I like to put this wing tip underneath like this. And I'm going to lift the skin, put my fingers in here, underneath the skin, and break the skin away from the meat. And we're doing that on this thigh, and we're going to do it on this thigh over here. And you notice all I do is put my finger inside here like this, and gently, because I don't want to break the skin and rip it. And why am I doing this? I'm doing this because I want to be able to take our dry rub and our sesame oil and put it inside here. Now, right along here, there is a piece of membrane, and I want to take and break that free. So I am now breaking it free with my finger. And you can see, and one of the reasons I'm wearing blue gloves is that I want you to be able to see how I'm doing this. Now we flip it over here, and we do the same thing in the front part. And look at that. We haven't even ripped the skin. Okay, now we finish it up by taking our dry rub and our roasted sesame oil. We rub it on the breast, like this here. And we get it in there really good. Make sure you cover it all completely. And the purpose being is we want everything to taste really good. So now we want to do the thigh. So we take it and watch, you can see the blue fingers moving along on the thigh. And we got that side. Now we're going to get this side here, and now, see this? Haven't ripped the skin, even better. Okay, we rub the outside, and then we're going to flip it over in a moment, and we're going to rub the inside, and we do a little flip. And we take our rub and our sesame oil, and we're rubbing the inside, and we've got it completely coated, and we rub the winglets, and then we flip it back over, and there it is. You notice how the color is nice and uniform? It's because we've covered everything and we haven't forgotten anything. Now, we are going to put this on a cookie sheet that has a wire rack on it. And then we're going to put this in the oven. And we'll put it like that. That looks good to me. Okay, and now we're going to, in a moment, when I get these gloves off, we're going to go to the oven. Notice how I'm pulling the gloves off, because that way I don't get any of the chicken liquid on my hands. So, hands, nice and clean. All right, I am now heading towards the oven. Now the oven is at 350 degrees. Why 350? Because it's a relatively low temperature. What I do is I determine how long it's going to take by using my handy dandy instant read thermometer. Now, I love this thing because I don't overcook anything and I don't undercook things because I use my handy dandy thermometer. And if I want, when I'm cooking, I can stick it in my pocket here and it stays with me and I whip it out and I check it. The worst thing you can do to a piece of chicken is to undercook it because it's red and it's not a good idea. What about fish? You want to be able to take the fish and you want it to be moist and not dry. So we are now in the process of cooking the bird. And we started the bird and I know what the time is. So in about 15 to 20 minutes, I will do my temperature. Now, what are we going to serve with this? Okay, I'm reaching over here and I have a serving plate and I'm going to turn around in the back and I'm going to bring out my rice cooker. And I've made rice. Look at that. Isn't that nice? Even smells good. Okay, what's in the rice cooker? 2 cups of water, right here. 1 cup of basmati rice. Why am I using basmati? One, it's a long grain rice. It has nice texture, but it has a huge amount of flavor. Okay, what else is going to go in there? How about some almonds? Slivered almonds. Nice touch. Okay, that's going in here. And a teaspoon and a half of soy sauce. That's it. Okay, what we're going to do is that when the chicken, the Cornish game hen, is finished cooking, we're going to put a pile of rice in the center, and we're going to put half the chicken on one side, half the chicken on the other, and you will see me cut the chicken in half, so you'll know how to. You'll see how that I do that. Okay, we're going to wait a little bit and do the cooking. Okay, what I'm going to do right now is show you how I'm going to plate my rice. Okay, I'm going to put the rice in the center, and I will then take the Cornish game hen, and I'm going to cut it in half, so you got a perfect half, and then we're going to put one here and one there, and we're going to overlap it a little bit, so it kind of looks nice. So that's what we're going to do in a minute. I'm going to plate the rice right now. Okay, we open it up. Boy, does that rice smell good. Even makes me hungry. Okay. There we go. Almost done plating rice. And we want a little bit more here so it's nice and even. And we're going to put this right there. And I'm going to remove the rice and put it behind me. And in a moment, we are going to take the Cornish game hen out of the oven, and we're going to cut it in half, put one half here, one half there, and it's going to be a thing of beauty, I hope.
like you all to do first, because I'm really going to work on commitment, myself included. So if you have a pen or a piece of paper handy or your phones, because as I'm going through things, I'm going to ask you to maybe jot down a few commitments on your own, little self-fulfilling prophecies to help make our plans actually stick. Because when we talk about it, it's one thing, but when we actually write it down, something happens with the way the hand is writing and the brain is seeing and understanding and comprehending. We're more likely to stick with change. So saying things out loud and writing things down are great strategies for any time you're trying to remember something or make a change. So we're going to talk about some nutrition tips for a healthier new year, but all of these tips and strategies that I'm going to share can definitely be applied to anything else that you might be working on, whether it's saving money or electricity or gas or trying to take more time for yourself, read more, hobbies, whatever. All of these tips and strategies will work for those things as well. So a little bit about New Year's resolutions and where it's felt that they originated. And what we do understand is that ancient Babylonians were probably the first people to make New Year's resolutions. And this is probably going back about 4,000 years ago. They were the first to hold celebrations for the new year, but it was in line with their crops so that they could feed their villages and their families. So New Year's originally was in mid-March when crops were planted. And it wasn't one night, it wasn't New Year's Eve. It was a 12-day religious festival known as Akitu. And at this time, a new king might be crowned, or the locals would affirm their loyalty to the reigning king. During this 12-day festival, they would make promises to the gods for a good crop, healthy new year, good weather. And they would also pay back any debts that they owed or return things or objects that they had borrowed throughout the year. And it was felt that if they kept their word, the gods would be good to them. And if not, they could fall out of God's favor. And it is felt that these promises during this 12-day religious festival are probably the forerunners to today's New Year's resolutions that we make. So to get ready, we are going to talk about sticking to our New Year's resolutions today. And it's not New Year's yet, so we still have time to make some, but you might have a few thoughts tossing around in your head. So as I mentioned before, I'm hoping to have a little piece of paper or pen and pencil or some strategy to help you commit to whatever changes you're thinking about. I'm going to focus on nutrition, needless to say, because this is delicious and nutritious. So one of the main things that you should keep in mind when it comes to keeping your nutrition resolutions for the new year is determine the reason why you're making this resolution. Why do you want to make this change? Kind of that, what's in it for me? What is the benefit? Is this change going to be a benefit to your health? Is it to lose weight, which is a benefit to your health or maybe your appearance? You don't want to buy any more new clothes, or maybe it's to gain weight because you haven't been eating that well. Is it about reducing the amount of medication that you might be taking through positive lifestyle change? And naturally, you'd work with your healthcare provider before reducing any medicines. Are you going to make this change so that you can get down on the floor and play with your grandchildren or your children or your pets and be able to get back up easily? Is this change to help you to live longer with a good quality of life? Is this change to help you have more energy There are so many reasons why nutrition changes can benefit you. So if you are thinking about a nutrition change, write down what it is and don't choose more than 2 or 3. I'm happy with just one. Change is hard. But what I would hope is that the change you decide on is related more to health and quality of life versus related to looks. So I'll give you a second to write down a change and why it is important to you before we move on to the next step. So now that you have made your resolution, and I'm assuming it's a nutrition-related one because of this particular program, one tip to help you maintain it, if it's about weight loss or weight management, eat until you're satisfied versus full. And it takes about 20 minutes for your brain and your stomach to both get the message that you've eaten. So try not to eat while you're distracted. Try to be mindful. When you're eating, try to be focused on that meal at hand, or maybe if you're dining with somebody, a nice, relaxing conversation, or maybe some nice music, or if you like to have the TV going, something that wouldn't be distracting, but something that would be relaxing. If you eat faster than that 20 minutes I just mentioned, think about that and think about slowing down, putting your fork or knife or spoon down between bites, chewing your food slowly and swallowing, having a sip of water or fluid before you take that next bite. Think about the foods that are on your plate. Are they low nutrient or are they high nutrient? High nutrient foods provide you with satiety because your body's getting the nutrients that it needs. Low nutrient foods sometimes do not provide satiety because hunger is based on your body's need for nutrients. That's where that stomach clenching and cramping originates from. It is your body telling your brain, I need nutrients. And then the brain sends those messages to the stomach telling you that you're hungry. Appetite is the opposite. When we eat because it's there, because of emotions, because we're happy, because we're sad. Do you keep eating because the food tastes good? I know I have been known to do this. Maybe pack it up and put it aside and know that you've got it to have later on to enjoy again. And this is where mindfulness really helps, really savoring the food that you're eating. So I'd like you to think about 1 or 2 of these tips, or maybe one of your own, to consider to help you eat more nutritiously and eat the amount of food that your body needs. Finding foods that fill you up, like fruits and vegetables, salads, soups, whole grains. Paying attention to your body's cues, stopping when you're no longer hungry, but not overly full. Eating slowly, putting that fork or spoon down between bites. Sipping water or milk between bites, and definitely being mindful while you eat, so there's no distractions. Other important tips for helping you to keep your resolutions: if you slip, pick yourself up. Falling off the healthy habit wagon is very common. No one is perfect, and an occasional slip will not impact your overall health. And sometimes we need that treat, but too much overindulgence can have a negative impact. So some solutions to respond to a potential slip: practice positive self-talk. Go back to that reason about why you've decided to make this change. Maybe create a positive statement out of that resolution. Write it down on a card. Keep it where you can see it. Put it on your fridge. Put it on your computer's home screen. Say it out loud during the day to help keep you focused on that change. So it's short and sweet, but it is definitely workable. And when we practice these types of strategies to create change, we're more likely to stick with it. So for right now, I'd like to thank you all very much for being here with us for Delicious and Nutritious. It is a pleasure for PAC TV, from the Center for Active Living and Beth Israel Deaconess Hospital to provide you with this type of programming to help you have another happy and healthy new year. So from me, Marcia Richards, and Jerry Levine, thank you very much for joining us today.